Welcome to IVF This, episode 45, Self-Compassion versus Self-Pity. Welcome to IVF This. I'm your host, Emily Ginn. I'm a mother to two beautiful and feral boys. I'm married to my favorite person in the world. I'm a social worker, a life coach, and an IVF warrior. I'm here to teach you how to manage your mind and emotions during your IVF journey, to break free from anxiety and regain control of your life, even in the midst of infertility. I'm going to teach you to say IVF this to how we think about, talk about, and experience infertility. Let's go. Hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you're doing so well today. A little update on this front. I am kind of in the midst of launching my group coaching program, which will go live in about 3 weeks. And I am working on some content and emails and things like that. So if you're still interested, it's not too late. You can contact me through email, hello@ivfthiscoaching.com. You can go to my website, www.ivfthiscoaching.com, and click on the consult button. There's multiple ways. You can send me a DM through Instagram. There's a lot of different ways that we can connect and let me know that you're interested in the group coaching program. And so I'm just really excited and reveling in creating this group coaching program for you all. In case you're interested in a couple of the details, it's going to be 12 weeks of coaching. There's going to be 2 calls per week. The first call is going to be like a Q&A where I'm presenting to you a coaching concept and we're really going to flesh out the details. And then the next call during that week is going to be an open coaching call. So you come and you get coached. And this is really impactful. I know that for me, when I first got into coaching and was first being coached, group coaching kind of turned me off a little bit. It was intimidating. I wasn't really sure I was going to get the help that I thought I wanted. What I realized pretty quickly into my group coaching experience was that most of the people that were coached on the group coaching calls were very much like me. I could pull information, similarities, likenesses from the things that they were getting coached on, and I could apply it to myself. So group coaching isn't really, well, if I'm not being coached, I'm just going to disconnect. You really can find value wherever you look for it, as long as you're looking for it. So that's a little bit about the group coaching program. Again, you can reach me, email, Instagram, through my website, anything like that, and just drop me a note. Let me know that you are interested in the group coaching program and I can send you more information as well. I also wanted to kind of revisit this. We haven't talked about this in several episodes, but if you follow me on Instagram, which is at IVF This Coaching, and you are really enjoying a specific episode or something from an episode really resonated for you, go ahead and take a screenshot of that, share it in your stories, tag me. I would love to connect that way. I love to know what resonates for you guys. I love to know what doesn't resonate for you guys, what you want to hear more of. If there's something specifically that you're struggling with that I can take and apply to kind of a broader sense. I wouldn't specifically call you out or the situation, but apply it in a broader sense for the rest of us IVFers. I love that kind of interaction. So again, take a screenshot of the podcast, whatever platform you're using, it doesn't matter. Tag me on Instagram, share it in your stories. I would love to hear from you. So this episode is actually, it came from specifically a coaching call that I had with one of my clients. And it was a conversation. Sometimes our coaching looks a little bit more like a conversation and a back and forth rather than actively coaching, which is beautiful. And we were talking and she asked a very interesting question. She wanted to know when she knew if she was offering herself compassion or if she was stuck in pity. Now, if you've listened to any episode of this podcast, you have probably heard me talk about compassion 100 times. Right? It is what I think is kind of the secret sauce, the gasoline for healing is compassion. And so I love that she asked that question because I have a great response. That's what this podcast is about. But I don't think any of us have really thought about the difference. And so that is what I wanted to get into today. Okay, so let's get into self-pity versus self-compassion. First of all, I always want to level set expectations. Neither one is good or bad objectively. Some of us hear the word pity and we automatically make that mean something terrible, something bad, something self-loathing about us. But pity isn't objectively wrong or bad, anything like that. Sometimes we might actually choose to feel pity for ourselves or to feel pity for someone else. That's okay. It's not good, bad, right, wrong. It's always a choice we get to make. Okay. So I want to start by maybe taking that layer of judgment off around pity, because I think that's going to be really important when we talk about the differences. I do think it's worth exploring the difference between self-pity and self-compassion, because for most of us, I know 100% for me, compassion feels infinitely better than pity. So the way I'm going to break this episode down for you is I'm going to talk about self-pity and self-compassion in terms of how they sound, like what we usually say to ourselves, how they make us feel, what are the sensations that we have in our body, and what they tend to look like, which I think you'll find is an interesting spin. So how they sound, how they feel, and what they look like. So first, how they sound. And by that, I mean, how does self-compassion and self-pity sound in your mind? What are your thoughts? And this is what I think. Self-pity sounds like poor me, and it stops there. Self-pity asks, why doesn't anyone understand what I'm going through? And why is it just like this for me? It says, I'll never be able to get this. This is too hard. It's only going to get worse from here. Remembering that old saying that my mom would tell me whenever I was younger and kind of self-pity, nobody likes me, nobody cares, I think I'll just go eat worms, right? That's kind of what self-pity is. But self-compassion sounds very different. Self-compassion sounds like, well, first of all, it's not rainbows and daisies. You guys know I'm not in that business of artificial happiness, toxic positivity. It's not forced gratitude. It's not silver linings, but it's different than self-pity. Self-compassion says, this is hard. Maybe like this is really effing hard, but I'm doing it. Self-compassion says, it's the Marie Forleo, her famous quote, everything is figure-outable. I love that so much. Everything is figure-outable. I can ask for help. I have choices. Self-compassion asks one of my favorite questions of myself. What is the most loving thing I can do for myself right now? How can I best take care of myself right now? Self-compassion asks, how can I love myself through this? Self-compassion doesn't say it's easy. Self-compassion doesn't say it's amazing and like from the ashes, a phoenix will rise. We should love it all and we should be super happy. It's not fake. It's not forced, but it's different than self-pity. It's an opportunity to have empowerment in a moment that does not necessarily scream empowerment, right? Can you hear the differences? So that's how self-compassion and self-pity sound differently in our minds. And here's how they make us feel. Self-pity feels sad and stuck, feels stagnant and hopeless. Kind of a bummer, right? Big Debbie Downer. Self-pity, for me, when I think about physically, it drops my gaze to the floor. Like I look at the floor. It gets you focused on what sucks in life, what sucks in your journey. And there are plenty of things that do suck, but it has you stay there. Self-compassion, however, feels more understanding. It feels loving and encouraging and compassionate. It lifts you up. It doesn't pull you down. Or at least it meets you where you are and holds you there and loves you there. That's the big difference. Self-compassion lifts your gaze, even if it's just a couple of degrees. Maybe you're not staring right at the floor. Maybe you're staring at like the edging of where the wall and the floor meet, right? It doesn't have to be eye level with the rest of the world, but maybe you're not staring directly at the floor. Compassion helps us focus on what is possible. instead of focusing on everything that sucks. So they sound very different in our mind. They feel very different in our body. What's really interesting to me about self-compassion and self-pity is that they don't look too differently from the outside. The actions that we take from self-pity might actually look pretty similar to the actions that we take from self-compassion. So other people might not know if we're feeling self-pity or if we're feeling self-compassion. We might not even care. What matters is that you know. It's what you feel inside of your body. So let's talk about that. Sometimes self-compassion looks like rest and rejuvenation and crashing on the couch and Netflix. And sometimes self-pity looks like staying on the couch and Netflix. But while you're feeling sorry for yourself and feeling that stuck feeling. So if you had a camera following you around, like you were in Big Brother or something, might see like we're doing the same thing, being on the couch, watching Netflix, but you're doing it because you know that you need rest and rejuvenation and that that's good for you. And it feels like love to take some downtime and be on the couch, or you're doing it because you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're thinking that everything sucks and you're hiding, right? It'll look the same on the surface, but it's all dependent on what you're feeling. What feeling is driving that action? Just the think, feel, do cycle over and over and over. Sometimes self-compassion looks like saying no to an invitation because it would feel like love, like self-compassion is alone time in your safe little cocoon. Sometimes that's compassion. But self-pity could also mean saying no to the invitation. I don't want to come to the party, thanks, but no thanks. But in this case, it's because you're buying into the hopeless story that you can't fit in, won't fit in, and that you won't have fun. You could still say no to the invitation, but why are you doing it? Because you're feeling compassionate towards yourself or because you're having pity on yourself? Sometimes self-compassion looks a lot like not punishing yourself because you need rest. This is something that I have to work on all of the time. When I feel like I need to slow down, the internal dialogue in my head is that I can't slow down. That if I slow down, something's going to get missed or I'm going to miss out on something. A little bit of you only live once and a little bit of fear of missing out. But that's something I have to work on, is allowing myself to not punish myself because I need rest. Or if maybe you're going through multiple cycles, maybe allowing yourself to not punish yourself for taking a break, right? Sometimes self-pity looks like not pushing yourself because what's the point? It won't matter anyway, right? It's a very fine line to toe. Sometimes self-pity looks like cleaning all of the things, all while thinking, woe is me, and feeling sorry for yourself. And sometimes self-compassion looks like cleaning all the things because you love how it feels to have a clean house. And that's really what you want for yourself. And that's what feels loving and nurturing to you, is to create an environment that feels good to you. Self-compassion does the thing that helps you create the life that you want, whereas self-pity holds you back from it. Self-pity assumes that the worst will be true, the worst in others, the worst in you, the worst in life. Self-pity says that this sucks, you suck, the future sucks, it all sucks, sucks. Self-compassion stops to figure out what's going on when you don't feel quite right. Self-compassion says, hey, sweetheart, what the heck is all of this about? What is going on here? I love you. You're safe. It's all going to be okay. It may not look like that right now, and it may not feel like that right now, but I've got you. Right? You're telling this to yourself. Self-compassion seeks to understand what's happening for you from a place of love instead of a place of judgment. It assumes the best is possible for you in your life. It assumes the best in other people too. So the next time you're asking yourself, am I doing this out of self-pity? Am I doing this out of self-compassion? Am I stuck? Am I being kind to myself? I hope you will consider this. What's going on in your mind? Is it everything sucks? Or is it that this is hard and I'm still doing it? Is it nobody likes me, nobody cares, I think I'll just go eat worms? Or is it I'm amazing, I'm safe, and this is a hard time in my life, but I'm going to figure it out? Does it feel stagnant and stuck and hopeless? Like Debbie Downer, wah, wah. It's one of my favorite SNL skits of all time. Or is it encouraging and compassionate and lifting you up? Because it could look very similar. Only you know where you are. And again, it's not good, bad, right, or wrong. This is not an indictment on where you are, but choosing what you want and be honest with yourself about it. That's what will feel good to you. That will be aligned with the type of person that you want to be. You want to feel empowered. You can actually still feel empowered and choose pity because you are making a conscious choice of it, right? We just want to make the conscious choice. We want that empowered feeling, no matter what. That self-compassion, that empowerment, that is what I want for each of you. Even just for a moment, none of us chooses these things all the time. That's not what this is about, right? It's just about creating awareness of where you are, what you're thinking, and how you're feeling. That, my friends, that is the game right there. Game, set, match. If you can figure that out even 50% of the time, which is about where I am right now, 50% of the time, your life is going to be totally different. Even while you're going through IVF, even when you're looking down the barrel of some of the worst, scariest, and most painful moments of your life, it still can be different by showing yourself that love and compassion. And that's what I want for all of you. And that is what I have for you this week, my beautiful friends. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of IVF This. If you like what you've heard, click subscribe and follow to make sure you don't miss an episode. And if you want to learn more, head over to www.ivfthiscoaching.com to learn how to work together.